Alright, the next type of problem is round trip problems. Okay, we're going to do numbers 1 and number 5, and hopefully that'll be enough practice and you can go ahead and do the rest of them by yourself. Okay, number 1 says a pilot flew an average of 300 miles per hour on a flight out. On the return flight to the same airport, he flew at an average speed of 500 miles per hour. The total flight time was 8 hours. How far did he fly each way? Okay, so here we've got our chart. We've got a flight out, and we've got a return flight. So flight out, and then return flight, or if we flight back, however you want to label it. Okay, let's highlight the information they gave us. So a pilot flew an average of 300 miles an hour on the flight out. So here's the rate that we know for the pilot on his outbound trip. On the return flight to the same airport, he flew at an average speed of 500 miles per hour. Okay, it says the total flight time was 8 hours. How far did he fly each way? Okay, so what he did was he flew. He might have got there, turned around, and flew back. So it's a round trip. He flew there, and then he came back. Okay, so that's why they have the little round trip thing. Alright, first thing you want to do is we're going to say he flew out. We don't know how long it took him to fly out. We do know that the whole flight took 8 hours. They told us. So when he flew there and flew back, he had a total time of 8 hours. I don't know how long it took him to get there. I do know that the whole flight was 8 hours, and if I take the time that it took him to get there, I get the return flight time. So that's why your flight, you're going, make that your T, and then down here, make it your whole time, your whole trip travel time, minus the time it took you to go out. Okay, again, this is going to be multiplication problems here. So we've got 300t, and we got 500 times 8 minus t. And just like the same direction problems, we're going to set these two equations or terms to equal. Okay, so now we've got 300t is equal to 500 times 8 minus t. 300t is equal to distributive property. So we got 40 with 2 zeros, so 4,000. And then we've got negative 500t. Okay, now we're going to numbers on one side, letters on the other. I'm going to add 500t to this side. I'm going to add 500t to this side. So over here I have 800t, and here I have 4,000. Divide that by, so now I'll just write it over here so we can follow along with what I'm doing. Okay, now I'm going to divide this by 800. Divide this side by 800. I'm going to cross up some zeros that I don't need. Okay, so now 80 will go into just 1 0. Sorry about that. One too many zeros. That zero's gone. This zero's gone. That one lines up with that one. So now 8 will go into 40 5 times. So my t is 5. Alright, what did I just find out? I found out it took him 5 hours to fly out. 8 minus 5 is 3 hours to return. and that should add up to 8 hours, which it does. But now my question is, how far did he fly each way? So if I take 300 and I multiply that by 5, I get 1,500. And the same idea here, if I took 500 and I went 800 minus 5, I get 500 times 3, which again is 1,500. And we should expect to find the same distance going out and coming back. So we got 15 miles, 1,500 miles each way. Okay? All right. Number 5, let's do that one. And they're all going to be set up similarly. Pretty close to the same direction, but now we have a total time they work on. Okay, so let's see number 5. It says, Mike and Jeff put their canoe in the river and paddled downstream at 9 miles per hour. Then they turned the canoe around and paddled upstream at 3 miles per hour to return to the car. How far did they go downstream if the whole trip took them 6 hours? So now let's label. We've got downstream, and we have upstream. Okay, let's highlight. So downstream, they went 9 miles an hour, and then it says upstream, they went 3 miles an hour. Okay, that's information we need. So downstream, their rate was 9 miles an hour. Upstream, 3 miles an hour. What else do we need to know? Their whole trip took 6 hours. We don't know how long it took them to go down. We do know it took 6 hours total. So if I take my 6 and I minus the time it took them to go downstream, I'll get my upstream value. Okay, just like before, these are multiplication problems. So we have 9t, and then we have 3 times 6 minus t. Remember, these are quantities, and it's set equal to each other. So now we have 9t is equal to 3 times 6 minus t. So we have 9t is equal to distributive property 18, distributive property negative 3t. Okay, add 3t to both sides. So now we have 12t is equal to 18. Okay, so now we've got 12t is equal to 18. I'm going to show you my work on this side. We're going to divide this by 12, both sides. So my t is equal to 18 over 12. Okay, and I can simplify that. I can do an in and out problem. So at the side over here, we do an in and out problem. So inside the house is 18, outside the house is 12. 12 will go into 18 one time. 6 left over. We can make a decimal here. 12 will go into 60 5 times. So we got 1.5. So 1 hour and a half. It took them 1.5 hours to go downstream. So we got 9 times 1.5. So if I do that, because the question's asking me how far did they go downstream if the whole trip took 6 hours. So we're looking at the distance for downstream. Let me find my highlighter. So that's the question. So now I'm going to take 9 and multiply that by 1.5. So where's my, got 9 times 1.5. I think I like it 1.5 and the 9 on the bottom. Make it easier for me to do that. There's 45. Carry the 4. There's 13. And I move my decimal in one place. So it was 13 and a half miles downstream. Okay, just make sure that you know what your question asks, and so your final answer can be the correct answer. Okay, so that was our round trip problems.